Hey, Treasure History. Today's essential question is, who was Emperor Constantine? Today starts a new unit, Unit 9. It's all about the fall of ancient Rome and the start of the Middle Ages. But with only 30 more classes until we crush that eye leap, show me what you remember from old units. Let's go back to Unit 3 about Egypt. Now that you have a strong knowledge of the Roman Empire, it's time to learn about why it fell. After all, Rome was one of the biggest and most powerful empires that ever existed. It ruled the Mediterranean region for 1,000 years. So why did it ever go away? Well, there are many reasons, but one emperor named Constantine may have fast-forwarded Rome's path to destruction. Let's find out how. Make sure you follow along on your passage and annotate. Where did Constantine grow up? Constantine was born around the year 272 AD, so remember that's 272 years after Jesus was born. Constantine was born in the city of Naissus. This city was in the Roman province of Moesia, which is in the present-day country called Serbia. Constantine's father was Clavius Constantius, a powerful man who was second in command under the Emperor Diocletian. Constantine grew up in the court of Emperor Diocletian. The interesting thing about the time period in which Constantine lived was that Emperor Diocletian had just made a decision that changed the Roman Empire forever. He split it in half. For a while now, life in the Roman Empire had been getting worse and worse. The empire was so large, like you see in this picture, that it was really hard for one emperor to govern. The army was spread very thinly, trying to protect Rome's vast territory. See, that guy's working real hard. So, in 285 AD, Emperor Diocletian decided that the empire was too big to manage. He split it into Eastern Rome and Western Rome. Early career. Oh, please pause and summarize the section we just read about the split of Rome under Diocletian. Alright, so Constantine's early career. When he was young, Constantine got an excellent education, learning to read and write in both Latin and Greek. He also learned about Greek philosophy, Greek mythology, and theater. Constantine also fought in the Roman army for several years. He also witnessed Diocletian's persecution and murder of the Christians. Remember what we learned about before last week? How the Christians were put in the arenas and murdered just for their beliefs? Constantine saw all that because Emperor Diocletian was one of the main emperors who did that. That had a really lasting impact on Constantine. Becoming emperor. When his father became ill, he named Constantine as emperor of the western portion of the Roman Empire. I can see from the key that the Western Empire is the pink part, so that's this. This was the part that Constantine took over. Constantine began to strengthen and build up much of this area. He built roadways and cities. Constantine began to conquer neighboring kings with his large army. He expanded his portion of the Roman Empire. The people began to see him as a good leader. He also stopped the persecution of Christians in his territory. Eventually, Constantine decided to take over Eastern Rome and put the whole empire back together. He wanted it to go back to these glory days when the whole empire was united. But in order to do that, he had to conquer the Emperor Maxentius and take his territory. As Constantine approached Rome in the year 312 AD, he had reason to worry. His army was about half the size of Maxentius's army. So one night before Constantine faced Maxentius in battle, he had a dream. In the dream, he was told that he would win the battle if he fought under the sign of the Christian cross. By the way, according to this piece of art, this is St. Peter and St. Paul spreading Christianity in Constantine's dream. So they told him, fight under the sign of the Christian cross. The next day, he had his soldiers paint crosses on their shields. This actually looks a little different than what we call a cross. He painted this symbol because these two letters in Greek are the symbols for Christ. So this symbol went on all of his soldiers' shields, And they ended up dominating that battle. They defeated Emperor Maxentius and they took control of Rome. After this victory, which to Constantine seemed to be a miracle, he decided to become a Christian himself. Constantine continued to fight until he had conquered all of Eastern Rome. He was now the emperor of all of Rome, and he considered himself to be a Christian ruler. He defended Christians from persecution, and eventually he even made Christianity the official religion of all of Rome. Constantinople. In 330 AD, Constantine established a new capital of the Roman Empire. He built it on the location of the ancient city of Byzantium. This is it in the circle. The city was named Constantinople after Emperor Constantine. Get it? Constantine, Constantinople. Constantinople would later become capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, also called the Byzantine Empire. Like the old capital, Constantinople was built on 7 hills, provided great farmland to its people, and had the normal governmental buildings the capital needed, including a new Senate building. It was also closer to much of the empire's territory, so it made it easier to travel and govern. However, the move of the capital city left the old city of Rome very weak, with fewer soldiers to protect it and less money flowing in. This made the problems in Rome even harder to solve. Tomorrow, you'll see what happened to the once great Western Empire. Constantine ruled the Roman Empire until his death in 337. He's remembered as one of the last great emperors of Rome, and is sometimes called Constantine the Great. So now you know who Emperor Constantine was and why he was important to Rome. He made some pretty huge changes in the empire. At the time, those changes seemed good. But again, tomorrow you'll see how they might have actually caused the end of his empire. Go ahead and X out of this tab and push 4.0 until it's time to practice.